today we're talking about 14 life-changing accommodations. And so if you haven't been on these calls, I do these every week, Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, and they're free, they're educational, and I do this because I worked in mental health and I've done 10,000 one-on-one coaching calls with real estate agents and entrepreneurs with ADHD. And there's in our like success culture and materials, a lot of times we're not addressing the neurodiverse aspect of things, and then we do it the neurotypical way and it doesn't work and we think something's wrong with us. And that was me for years and years and years until I started using these hacks and use it with my clients, and people are doubling, tripling their business, and it's amazing. So that's why I do these. I've been doing these for 2 years. So thank you for coming on. Anyone can come on that would like to. So we're going to get into this. And if you are looking for one-on-one coaching, let me know. I do have a couple spots that I'm opening up. So you're welcome to reach out for that. So 14, we're looking at 14 life-changing neurodivergent accommodations, and these are simple ones. And we're looking, this is based on a neurodivergent health research project that they did. And I wanted to do the whole call on this because I think that they're really smart and it's stuff you can do right now. And it doesn't take a ton of executive function to do it, right? It's not like discipline to do these. It's not pushing yourself. It's literally accommodations that you can incorporate into your life that are going to make things easier. And this is based on neuroscience and how our nervous systems work. So, yeah, 14 of these, and I'm going to get into it right off the bat. So number one, and oh, let me say this with accommodations. So remember that our world is not built for a neurodivergent nervous system and wiring. It's only 3 to 8% of the population that has ADHD. 3 to 8% of the population. And so our systems, our jobs, our careers, our schedules, our even like our sleep cycles are not always built for a neurodivergent brain. And so by adding accommodations in, what that does is it allows us to have an equal chance and not have to use as much of our executive function. And also, it's easier for us, right? It's easier. So accommodations are not luxury. They're not, being lazy, things like that. This is to allow us to thrive in a society that's not built for us. And it wouldn't be built for us, right? You're going to build a society for the majority. And so you wouldn't build it for a 3 to 8% of the population. So it's not society's fault. It's not our fault. We just have a really cool neurotype that's not as common. And so we do want to put accommodations in place to make it fair for ourselves. So number one is listen to fast music during tasks you want to finish quickly. So shopping, cleaning, getting ready, walking to the gym. So our body and our nervous system actually follows rhythm faster than our mind can follow like intention. So for example, has anybody had a job or cleaning or grocery shopping and it took too long? Have you ever done that? You stay forever in the grocery store? Like you go in and you put stuff in there you might not need, or maybe cleaning, right? You do a little bit of cleaning and then you find stuff and you start going through stuff and then it takes longer and then you sit down for a little bit. Like, so listening to fast music, what that does actually revs up our nervous system, which we've done a couple calls on the nervous system. And so this is a hack. If you want to get something done, walking to the gym, something like that, we want to listen to fast music. Number two is buy the version of the food you'll actually eat. So pre-cut fruit, pre-washed like lettuce or spinach, microwavable rice, rotisserie chicken, frozen veggies. So if let me ask this: have you ever got like super motivated and all of a sudden you went to the store because you were going to do food prep and you got the Whole Foods version of everything? I've seen the heads not. We've all done this, right? And we're super pumped, and we put it into that drawer in the bottom of the fridge, which is like the point of no return, because a lot of us can have what's called object impermanence. So if it's out of sight, it's out of mind, right? And then like it dies in there, and you find it later, you're like, oh my gosh, I just spent like $6 on organic spinach, and then you feel bad. Or this is like maybe you get a watermelon, you get something right there, but you need executive function to cut it up and to get out the cutting board and cut it the right way and all that stuff. So we don't do it. And then it like, I don't know if you have this, but if something's not fresh, I don't want to eat it, but I feel guilty, so I don't want to throw it out. So just wait until it like rots a little bit, and then I have to throw it out, and then I feel bad, right? So if you are in a place where you have lower executive function where that keeps happening, spend an extra dollar and get pre-cut. Like if you're in that place. If you're not having that, go ahead and get the stuff you want to cut, and like that can vary. Your executive function can vary. So some days I am doing food prep and I'm cutting whole foods and it feels so good. And other days I've got paper plates because I can't do dishes and I'm throwing the paper plates out because I don't want dishes to pile up. I've done that if I've gone through like depression or something, which I haven't in a long time, but that was an accommodation that was really helpful instead of just leaving dishes. But yeah, buy pre-cut stuff. Get something, even if it's microwavable, but you're eating, right? Instead of waiting till the last minute, being starving, and then going getting something super high calorie or something that's not really good for you. Or you're just going to eat cookie dough, like, or string cheese or something out of the fridge, right? Because you're starving. You're just eating because you're starving and you need a lot of calories. Cookie dough out of the fridge is awesome, or string cheese, but do it because you want to, not because you have to, because you starve yourself, right? So get stuff that is easier for you to prepare or that you're actually going to eat. Number three, use objects as memory cues. So, like I said, for a lot of our brains, out of sight, out of mind, it's not just a funny phrase. Like literally, we can have object impermanence where if it's not in front of us, it doesn't exist, and that can spill over to people too. And it doesn't mean we don't care, or it doesn't mean we forget about people and we just like don't care. It's literally our brain sometimes, it's just out of sight, out of mind, right? And so what we want to do is we want to use like objects as memory cues. So using trays or hooks or clear boxes, open shelves. You might have like a spot near the door that's like, don't forget this, right? And you have a tray, and the only stuff that goes on there is stuff that you can't forget, right? Instead of and open shelves and clear things, or labels. That's another thing too. I had a friend that got a label maker, and on the different shelves, or like on the cabinets, she had a label of what was behind that because she would literally forget what was behind it. And she was a therapist too, and it was so brilliant that she did that. So we want to have visual cues. There's actually a theory of executive dysfunction theory, and it's called the watermelon theory if you look into it. But a neurotypical person says, oh, I'm going to cut the watermelon up and eat it. And a neurodivergent person says, here's this watermelon. What knife should I get? I'm going to get the cutting board. Is the juice going to spill on the counter? How do I have to cut it? Do I have to wash? Right? We go through all these steps and it feels exhausting. And so there's that theory that we see all the steps, and the neurodivergent, neurotypical person just sees cut up the watermelon. It's not a big deal. We have to consciously think about these steps. So that's why it's harder. So, and same thing with getting groceries delivered, right? It might cost a little bit more, but if you don't do it, you're waiting till last minute until you're starving. And I've done this a bunch of times. And then you got to go get takeout, right? And you got to pay the extra fees because you're starving and you haven't eaten. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to eat, you know? So, but keep things clear boxes, open shelves, anything that's going to give you a visual cue of not to forget this thing or to remember this. Number four, use appliances that remove steps. So an egg cooker, a rice cooker, an air fryer, electric kettle. You might even have like something that chops vegetables for you that you can put in there instead of having to do it yourself if you don't like the sensory thing of touching the vegetables. Something, appliances that remove steps, that what that does is it's making it less taxing on your executive function. And so if you haven't been on the calls, if you haven't heard what that is, so executive function is basically your ability to carry out the task, stay focused, organize, prioritize, regulate your emotion while you do the task, right? Which is why sometimes you might white knuckle it and try to clean or do this thing, and you might start to get emotional, or you might start to get anxiety, and you might shut down or dissociate or freeze because you're having trouble regulating while you do it. So for us, it's not just suck it up and force yourself to do it. It might also cause a meltdown, or it could just make you do it. And once you get started, you're okay, right? It just kind of depends. But yeah, we want to with our executive function, we want to make it easier because it's like a fuel tank, right? And the less of the fuel we need to use, the more we have for other stuff throughout the day. Number five, go to the closest gym you can reasonably afford. So yes, you can get a bunch of equipment in your house, or what can be easier so you don't even have to worry about it and you have extra stuff to clean. For us, distance isn't just distance, right? If it's 15 or 20 minutes away, we're less likely to do it. But if it's on the way home, oh, I guess I'll turn in here. It's only 3 minutes away. It's only 5 minutes away. Because also we have, like, again, it's not, and this is what the researchers found for us, it's not just distance, but it's the transition going from the car to there, and taking a special trip. It's the planning. It's maybe the weather. It might be where to park. The I'll go later. It's kind of far away. Let me group that together, right? But if it's really convenient and it's really close to your house, and it's 3 minutes away or 5 minutes away, it might be worth spending an extra $10 or $20 a month for that membership, even if it's more expensive, because you're more likely to go. Number six, shop when the store is empty. So if you have sensory stuff, shopping for groceries involves lights, noise, people, decisions, labels, cues, bags, right? Like paying, transitions. You might have people bumping into you. When I lived in San Diego, I love San Diego. And at the same time, I'd go into a store and it was like really difficult and overwhelming when people would bump into me because it was just more crowded. And so I'd go at special times because I would get so overstimulated. I just want to leave. I didn't want to grocery shop anymore, because I'd like, get out of my space. So we want to shop when the store is empty if that's helpful. It's going to reduce sensory load. And so it might, again, when we're regulating our emotions and we're trying to block out the lights and the sounds and the people, that's taxing our executive dysfunction. And so it might be that you want to go work and you go grocery shop in the morning, and then by the time you get home, you're exhausted and you don't have a lot of fuel left to work. So it might be that you're doing tasks that really can drain that, and then you don't have energy to do the thing you want to do. If that's you, right? Some people don't have that, some people do. Number seven, keep default meals in the house. So like things that take less than 5 minutes to prepare. So you could have hard-boiled eggs that you could buy, a bowl of cottage cheese, like with cherry tomatoes and cucumber in there, a bowl of cereal that's like, I mean, healthy cereal, right? That you could get. You could have something smoothies, something you could microwave, um, like cheese and crackers, something that takes less than 5 minutes to prepare. Because if it's too much and we're already tired, we're not going to do it. Granola bar, make sure it's healthy, right? And have something you can grab in less than 5 minutes. If you don't have that, and then you also have things that aren't that healthy, and your executive function is struggling, you're going to go for the stuff that's quick, right? You're going to go for the stuff that's quick. So have stuff that you can do. Number eight, put important things where they already are. So if you drink water at night, put it by the bed. If you take your medication after you take your coffee, put it by your coffee. Put your gym clothes by the door. Put your toothbrush in the shower if that's where you brush your teeth. We want to put important things that we need where they already are, so we're eliminating an extra step to go get the thing or to move it, right? So just think about your patterns and your habits that you do. The dog's leash, put it by your shoes, right? If you can group stuff together, we're eliminating steps, because when something takes an extra 3 steps and then we get a phone call or we have another idea, sometimes our impulse control, sometimes it can pull us away from what we're trying to do. Number nine, duplicate essentials. So chargers, scissors, lip balm, your meds, medbox, deodorant, notebooks, like water bottles. So having two for us can be helpful, because let me ask, has anybody lost that stuff? Like you get chapstick and you have no idea where it is, or you like tissue, I thought I just bought this, or all this stuff, right? So if you can have duplicates of the things you need, like for me, chapstick's big. I don't like the sensory, like I will never have chap lips. I can't. Like they will always have chapstick. I always have to have it with me, or it bothers me, or lotion for my hands or something. I don't like, I have some of that sensory stuff. And so having two of those is like self-care, because if you're in the truck and you forgot it and now you're at a training all day, it's like, oh my gosh, I got to go to a gas station, get it. I'm a little bit on the spectrum, so my sensory stuff is a little bit bigger. But that's like self-care, right? So have two of things that you really need. And that can be really, really helpful. So duplicate those essentials. And we can sometimes forget where we put stuff, so if it's important, have two. Number 10, use open storage for things that you forget exist. So drawers are where, this is what they said, neurodivergent objects go to die. So baskets are open, trays. We've talked about that stuff, right? We want our visible shelves can remind us. This is another thing in the fridge. This is something that a lot of us actually do who are neurodivergent. Instead of using those crisper boxes for the vegetables that go to die, you might put drinks in there, or beverages, or condiments. So use the like the shelves on the side instead of the condiments. Like if you need ketchup, you're gonna go find it. You're not gonna forget, oh my gosh, I've read it. Ketchup. Like it's stuff that you know you're gonna seek out. Put that in the drawers and then put the other things on the shelves. I've even done because I've done personal training, all that stuff. I'd have a shelf for vegetables. I'd have a shelf for protein. I'd have a shelf for like carbs or whatever, or fruit. And then you can see, oh, I have this many vegetables left. So we want to make it really visual for us. And that's a hack, instead of putting in the crisper, because I don't know about you, but I always forget about that stuff. We talked about this a little bit. Keep a leaving the house station, right? Keys, wallet, headphones, sunglasses, meds, bag, whatever you always hunt for, have like a tray, have a keep leaving the house station, where all that stuff is right there so you're not running around to get it. And then when you come in, you can get in the habit, because it's called habit stacking, by the way, where if I do this, then I do this. So the second you come in the door, your sunglasses go off on the tray. You don't need them in the house, right? And so you can train yourself to not leave them on your head and then they fall off and you don't know where they are, right? Or your keys go right there instead of someplace else. So that's where we want to have like a leaving the house station. Put your headphones there every time. Put your wallet. That can make things so much easier. Maybe there's a phone charger there. Maybe you take a break from your phone, right? This is another one. Put trash cans where trash actually appears. So desk, bathroom, bedroom, car, kitchen, wherever there's trash, put a trash can there where it actually appears. So we're building a system around like where it keeps happening, where it should go, because we're looking to eliminate steps, right? We're looking to eliminate steps. So that's really helpful as well. You can also, this is kind of the other thing. Now you can put your keys in the same spot. If there's something you need or there's something you need to do, that's really important. You can put your, keys on it or put it under your keys. That's but if you have the leaving the house station, you might not need to do that. Right. So that's another one. And then the next one is make the first step really small. So instead of clean the kitchen, right, put 5 things away. We want to chunk it down. Do the full workout, put your shoes on. That's another hack that people have talked about too. If you need to clean the house or get stuff done, a lot of times we think that it's like we see the big picture and then we can see all the steps and it gets really overwhelming and then we don't do it, right? So it's like I need to do a bunch of chores around the house and it's like, which one should I do first? Oh, that's so big. How's that most efficient? I'm kind of tired. Let me wait to get energy. Like we can kind of build it up to be this big thing instead of, well, let me put my shoes on. So if we can chunk it down, if you're getting really stuck on things like that, like what is the first step? What is the baby step? Same thing with lead gen. That's a big thing that we want to do to run our business. So if we're like, oh man, lead gen, if you're that, you want to do lead gen, you're trying to get motivated to do it and you just haven't done it, or answer emails or something, and we think, oh, I got to, like, the first step is to open your computer. So you don't need, it's this weird kind of interesting thing, but instead of saying, I got to do this big thing right now, it's like, I don't have to do that right now. I just have to go walk over to my desk. That's it. Can I do that right now? That's it. Right? It's kind of like you're talking to a kid through it. And now I'm just going to open my computer, right? And now I'm just going to click on my email and I'm going to look and I'm going to choose one. I'm going to answer it. And that's that. Because remember and this kind of goes back to the sensory stuff too, is that our brains with our executive function and our prefrontal cortex with the way that it's wired, we a lot of times see all the steps at once and we can have trouble prioritizing and organizing. So if there are things that you need to do, we're seeing the whole thing, right? Steps 1 through 15 all at once, and we don't necessarily see them in order, and it can be really overwhelming. So it's kind of like and if you see me do a screen share on my computer, I have too many tabs open a lot of times. Anybody like a tabaholic? You might need it one day, right? Yeah, there we go. Right. So I have so many tabs open on my computer, and then eventually the computer could freeze. I mean, that happens. Even if you have like, that's literally when I went to Best Buy, I was like, which laptop can I have a lot of tabs open on? I'm not kidding. And they help me. But eventually, with enough tabs, it does freeze. So that's kind of what can happen when we have a big task is like we see all the steps and there are all the tabs and then this and then maybe and then we can freeze instead of like one tab. Like, okay, let me knock this out and go to the next one. Another hack that you can do for executive function, and I've talked about this before, is make things that you don't want to do harder. So we are working with our executive function here. We're making it easier. We can also use our executive function and our limitations on that to our advantage. So if there's something you don't want to do, put steps in front of it, right? So for example, and some of you know I do this, I can totally be online. I can be on the internet. I can play video, like whatever, way past my bedtime. So I have it's actually like a Christmas light timer, a Wi-Fi timer. And you put it like plug it into the outlet and then you plug your Wi-Fi in. And when it clicks on to, let's say 10 p.m., then the Wi-Fi turns off automatically, right? So I'm making it more difficult for myself to stay online after a certain time, right? And it's like at the same time every week. The other thing, even when that got difficult, I put a piece. So there's a clicker on the top, right, where you can click that and then it'll turn the Wi-Fi back on. Even if I do that, it's going to take a little bit for the Wi-Fi to turn back on, right? Like 5 minutes. And by that time, the dopamine and the urge and the impulse control has sometimes gone away. I've also, in really hard times, taken a piece of a duct tape and put it over the button. So if I want to turn the Wi-Fi off, I have to consciously go back downstairs, click it, wait 5 minutes, and have to rip off the piece of tape. So I've got it to the point where I'm not touching the Wi-Fi. Somebody says, can you repeat that about turning the Wi-Fi off? How do you do that? So you can go on Amazon. You can just look for like an outlet timer or Christmas light timer, and it just plugs into, and then you plug, instead of plugging the Wi-Fi into the outlet, you're plugging the Wi-Fi into the timer. And then what you do is you set it. So basically you can set it to a certain time where and it's on a timer, it does it itself. And when it passes like 10 p.m. or whatever time you customize it to, the outlet turns off. Whatever is plugged into it turns off. So your Wi-Fi is going to go out throughout the whole house. And what's really cool, especially if you have kids, right? If your own stuff, and this is what they talk about in leadership is we want to manage systems, not people. We want to manage systems, not people. And so if you have gamers in your household, if you have kids, if you have a spouse, have that agreement as a household where you have a family meeting, and then you decide on what time do we want the Wi-Fi to go off so everybody's involved and everybody knows Wi-Fi goes off at a certain time, right? So you're getting kids off the games, you're getting people off movies, TVs, all that stuff, but it's collaborative. So you can totally do that as well, or if you have roommates. But coming to that decision together as a family, or as roommates can be really helpful. So we want to make things that are more difficult for us, or we want to make things that we don't want ourselves to do even more difficult, right? Same thing if you have like, yeah, it's so bad for help. Yeah, just staying up can be like not great, right? I'm curious, what are some other like vices or things that you don't want, right? So put that in the chat because we might be able to come up with some stuff together. Another thing, if there is like I do this, like there's certain things that I don't want myself to eat or something, or I want to limit it, I might leave it in the car. So I have to go put on shoes and go out to the car and get it, or I might not buy it. I might not keep it. I can have it, but if I have that thing, I have to go out and get it, right? So if it's soda, let's say there was a time where I was really wanting like soda with sugar or something. It's not that I couldn't have it because if I restricted myself too much, I'm going to rebel. So the rule was I could totally have it, but I have to go out and get it, right? If I want ice cream, because I have definitely had some like food stuff that I've really worked through in therapy, but there was a time where it was really difficult for me. And so if I said, no, you can't have this at all, it was way too restrictive, right? And I'd rebel and say, screw this. But if there was extra steps in between where it wasn't a hard and fast rule, I just couldn't, go do it, then that was a lot easier. So make things harder that you don't want yourself to do. But again, as a neurodivergent person, especially if you're on the spectrum as well, a lot of us have what's called demand avoidance, right? So if things are too restrictive, if rules are too firm, we do the opposite. We can totally rebel. We can get dysregulated. We can even get like rageful or whatever that is. So we want to watch the demand avoidance and not have these like really big, strong, like hard, fast rules. Because for some of us, it's like does the opposite, right? So that's my list. Thank you for being here, and then we'll see you Thursday if you're in our group program. We're doing a mastermind, and yeah. So thanks for being here, and have a wonderful day.